everyone. Welcome for attending Virtual Speaker Corner for today. I am Melissa Lockmating as a moderator for Virtual Speaker Corner episode 27. Today, I have invited a speaker from Year 3 Bachelor of Plantation Management who are Aiman Hakim bin Tajul Rahim. Today, he will share a topic, namely common enemy of oil palm. Let Aiman Hakim start his sharing.
Okay, thank you, Melissa, for the introduction. Before we go further, I will share screen so you guys can see my slide. Assalamualaikum and good evening. Before we go further, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Aiman Hakim bin Tajul Rahim. My metric number is 198765. I am third year student in Bachelor Science Plantation Management. So today, my sharing title is Common Enemy of Oil Palm. So let's go to the first slide. About oil palm scientific name is Elias guinensis, basically a species of palm. The originality of this plant are from west and southwest of Africa. So basically, oil palm does not belong to Southeast Asia region. It is brought by colonial powers on that time to this Southeast Asia region, and after that, until now, oil palm remain planted here, and it becomes in Malaysia it becomes golden crop due to its contribution to economic sector. Meanwhile, there is another species that its name is Elias Oliphara, but it do not planted here. Uh, in Malaysia mostly, and other country, the the species that are planted are mostly Elias guinensis. These plants are belonging to family of Araceae. Oil palm plant was first introduced to Malaya, or now it's called Malaysia, in 1870. During that time, oil palm planted as an ornamental plant. Means in 1870, oil palm does not being planted for commercial purpose. It just for make the landscape of a compound to become attractive or beautiful. In 1917, oil palm for the first time planted commercially at Tanah Estate in Selangor. Physiologically, the mature oil palms are single stem and it can grow up to 20 meter. It leaves its pinnate and can reach 3 to 5 meter in height. The oil palm fruits takes about 5 to 6 months for development from pollination to maturity. All of the oil palm fruits grow in a bunch. Ripened fruits of oil palm will turn to reddish color. So next, what is meant by common enemy of oil palm? As human, we all know enemy is anything that make us feel uneasy or feel threatened. If we facing our enemy, we will do anything such as we fight them, or we try to avoid them, or anything that we can feel that we can overcome the enemy. So same to plant. For oil palm, they also have their enemy that always disturb their growing process, and try to get benefits from oil palm. But this enemy take the benefit from the oil palm but do not give back the benefits to oil palm. That's why the enemy uh, be we must be careful with the enemies. So in this slide, in this sharing, I would like to highlight on animal pests that always threatening, or the other words, animal pest that is the famous enemy to oil palm. So we go to the first slide. Oh, before that, pest is any animal or plant that harmful to human or any human concerns. Meanwhile, animals as pests is animals that cause harm to human directly by transmitting to them causative agents or indirectly by causing damage to the crops, livestock, trees, and other things. So the first enemy that I will share is Rhinoceros beetle, or its scientific name is Oryctes rhinoceros. Size of adult beetles around 3 cm to 6.3 cm. These beetles are either dark brown or black in color, and the underside of males and females has reddish brown hair. For female beetles, they have this kind of hairs or at the tip of the abdomen. Rhinoceros beetle larvae are milky white with red heads, and the body is C-shaped. C-shaped. Its larvae have 3 pairs of segmented legs, and its posterior is grayish in color. They can grow up to 10 centimeter long. Rhinoceros beetles has become a major pest since zero burning concept is applied around 1990s. I would like to add rhinoceros beetles. Uh, I would like I would I would like to add why rhinoceros beetle become the major pest since zero burning concept is applied. If we all know, zero burning is the way to conserve the natural environment. Means that we reduce the amount of carbon by not doing open burning. So, okay, when we apply open burning, the benefit is all the eggs or larva or insect that are that live in the decaying log or dead plant or waste of tree that not being cleared will damage. We will destroy it when it burn. When we do not burn, it will give a suitable condition because decaying plant, it will become the food to the pest, to the rhinoceros beetle. So when we do not we do not do the open burning, this will give the advantage to the rhinoceros beetle because they have the source of food, the shelter to lay their egg, and that's why it become the major pest since the zero burning is not applied. And then we go to the next slide. Okay, this is the picture of the rhinoceros beetle. The left one is female and the right one is male beetles. And the below one is the larva for rhinoceros beetle. Next, the symptoms of damage. Okay, they will perform a holes at the base of the fronds. Fronds are bent or break, and then V-shaped cuts in palm fronds and holes in leaf mid-ribs. Okay, as we can see the image, this is the left one is V-shaped cuts, the middle one is holes in the leaf mid-ribs, and the right one is damage of base on immature plant. We can see the fronds are damaged, bend, break out. So this is the symptoms. When we see these symptoms, it's probably caused by the rhinoceros beetle. So next slide. Mechanism of damage. Female lays egg into rotting organic material. or it make a hole at the oil palm and put their eggs in. Larva of the rhinoceros beetle will eat the part of the oil palm, and adult beetle will use its mandible to chisel the inner part of the oil palm. Then the adult beetle also suck the juices from the front of oil palm. And then we go to the value of damage. Damage that caused by Oractus rhinoceros can cause an average loss of 40% to 92% during first year of harvesting. And it also causes 15% depletion in canopy size due to rhinoceros beetle attacks. When this occurs, it will cause photosynthetic activity to decrease. Why? Because oil palm cannot capture optimum amount of sunlight for photosynthesis and then produce food. When when the canopy size reduce or decrease, and it will cause oil palm to produce lower amount of yield, and it also delay the plant maturity and size of bunch will reduce. That's why when there is a limited sunlight, it will affect. It is not enough to for the oil palm to produce food, for the vegetative growth and other things. So it will affect for the growing of the oil palm. So next we go to control and management. How to control rhinoceros beetle? First, we can use the control it by applying field sanitation. We destroy or remove decaying log or dead plant. And then we can using lambda, cyhalothrin, cypermethrin, fenvalerate, monocrotopos, and chlorpyrifos, which is this kind of insecticide can be used both in nursery or field. And we also can use biological control agents such as Scolia patricialis or flower webs, Scolia procer webs, and a kind of webs, and Catastropus facialis, a type of beetles. So that is for rhinoceros beetle. And then we move to bedworm. Bedworm, or its scientific name is Plana. A little bit description. Why its name is bedworm? Because it refers to the habit of larva which build protective bed in which it can hide. There are two other species of bedworms, which is Pteroma pendula and Mahasena corbeti. But for this slide, I would like to highlight only for Plana due to its popularity in making the damage, a very serious damage to the oil palm. So Plana larva has about 90 days of life cycle before it turns to moth. During early install stage of larva, it is in brownish color and have dark patches. It can be found all over the head and thorax. Male pupa has big blackish head, while female pupa has creamy yellowish head. And then, in addition, typically bedworm larvae prefer the upper surface of the leaf for eating and lower surface of the leaf for resting and development. From here, bedworm not only make oil palm as their food. We can see that bedworm do not make oil palm as source of food, but also as the shelter for them to develop. Next, the symptoms. Small feeding holes on fronts, and then we can see the right one, the picture. It looks like the oil palm have been burning, but it's not. It is the situation when the bedworms have conquered the plantation area, means that the population is overloaded, and this is the outcome after that. So, mechanism of damage. Before it becomes smooth, its larva of Metissaplana will feed on oil palm leaves and use leaf pieces to cover their silken cases. This larva will make the oil palm leaf as a place for them to develop. Value of damage. The bedworm can cause about 50% of defoliation or falling of leaves of oil palm trees, 50%. And then it also can cause yield loss up to 10 tons of FFB per acre. When this occur, especially the yield loss up to 10 tons, it will contribute to decreasing in income of an individual or company that run out oil palm plantation. So don't mess with the bedworm effect of damage because 10 tons of FFB is quite large amount of loss of yield. We actually do not want the yield lower. We want the yield is higher. So we need, when there is a pest, we must make sure that we can control its population. So we we do not gain the loss of yield. So next slide. Control and management. We can apply chemical pesticide, which is very fast and effective way during the outbreak. We also can apply triclophon and chlorpyrifos from the organophosphate insecticide, and from pyrethroid insecticide we can use cypermethrin and lambda cyhalothrin. We also can apply biological control using natural enemies, either using other animals or using microbiological organism parasitoids. Example of using other animals or example of animals that we can use as a predator are Cosmolestes pictipes from Hemiptera order, or Dolichogenidia metaceae from Hymenoptera order. And then for microorganism, we can use bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis as a acting as a parasite to the Metissaplana. And then we go to the third famous pest that always become the enemy or trouble to the oil palm, which is rats. There are 3 species of rats that is common in oil palm, which is Rattus theomanicus, Rattus argentiventer, and Rattus drd. For Sabah, there are 2 more species, which is Rattus muelleri and Rattus drd. These rats can be found in nurseries, new planting area, immature and mature plantings area. Okay, this is the picture of the rats, and the very below one is Rattus muelleri. And then we go to the symptoms of damage that caused by the rats. First, the development of oil palm growth will be affected, and then rats also feed on the oil palm fruits during it's still on the bunch. Sometimes it will cause fruits at the bunch forms a hole like this, like the left one picture. Then for this point, I would like to add that rats loves to eat oil palm, and they feed either ripened or unripened fruits. They do not choose either the fruit is ripened or not. And the effect is when the rat feeds on unripened fruits on the bunch, the percentage of oil that can produce will become decreased. Then cause unopened flowers, and beside eating the flowers, the rats also love to eat or consume the pollinating weevil named Elidobius cameronicus. When this occur, when the Eladobius cameronicus is eaten or consumed in a large capacity, it will affected on the pollination process, because the pollination process do not occur 100% efficient because there is no pollination agent. And then damage from bases of immature palms. And then we go to mechanism of damage. Rats will feed on damage. Rats will feed and make damage on germinated seeds and seedlings in nurseries, immature and mature palms in field plantings. They will pulling out germinated seeds and feed on tender portion of plumule only. And then they're also chewing on into basal portion of seedling and growing apical point. Chewing on the lower fronds, feed on unripe fruits, chewing through hard shell to feed on the kernel, and then chewing on old male flower after shedding pollens and feeding on grubs of pollinating weevils. And they also chewing on unopened flowers and feed on developing fruit bunches. Value of damage based on Malaysia oil palm statistic, value of loss per hectare that caused by rats are around 1,007 ringgit and 76 cents. And it also causes oil production loss about 10%. So in oil palm plantation, this kind of loss must be avoided or must be controlled. So it is important to make sure that the enemy of oil palm named rats is being controlled wisely to make sure the oil palm can produce a higher and consistent yield in future. How we want to control and manage the rats? First, we can use ecological controls. The site of plantation must implement good agriculture controls in weed and ground cover management. Need to maintain predators habitat. Okay, for controls in weed and ground cover management, when the ground cover or the part the ground below the tree is clear, there is no potential to become the habitat of the rats. And then we go to cultural controls. Regular and complete harvesting must be implied. Efficient loose fruit collection, good pruning standards. And then we go to biological control. We set up barn owl nest boxes. As we all know, owl is the main predator of the rats, and they consume and owl consume on to and owls consume the rats as the sources of food. So this is quite for the long term management. This is quite good for the long term pest control by using biological control method. And then lastly, we can use chemical controls if the outbreak of rats or population of rats are very very high, because it will give the instant or fast result. Or so we can use poisonous bites, which is food that contain poisons of rats. Example of bites is warfarin, racumin, and chloropaquinon. So that's all the three of the highlighted pests that become the common enemy of oil palm. And the conclusion is oil palm is a golden crop in Malaysia. So this is one of the main export of our country. Thus, we need to ensure that this golden crop is well managed in order to get the high yield and to prevent the decreasing in profit. In this, so in this sharing, we also can conclude that the importance of uh, pest management is either you want to do IPM or any other things. The control the population of pests is very very important, because we do not want to get the high loss, but we want to get high profit. So we need to do the best management onto the controlling the pest population. So when we know from the sharing, when we know the enemy of the oil palm, it is make us easier to plan the strategy on how to overcome the pest in future. So that's all from me. Thank you. Melissa, the MC for this speaker corner, and Permatani for inviting, and also for thank you for Permatani for inviting me to share an input in this speakers conversation. I also want to say thank you for BSPP Club President for choosing me to do this sharing session in the speaker corner. I hope that you guys can get improved from my sharing, and I am sorry if there is a mistake in my sharing. I hope that you guys can tell in the comment if there is any uh, mistake in this video so I can improve myself in future. And then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe Unit Academic Fakulti Pertanian YouTube so you guys can increase your knowledge about agriculture here. And don't forget to watch the previous video that is made by my friends before. So that's all from me. Thank you everyone. Bye. Assalamualaikum.
Thanks Aiman Hakim for sharing about oil palm, its history, and the most important part is the common enemies and the control and the management to reduce the losses and maintain the yield and quality of oil palm. Thanks for Aiman Hakim for his sharing.